Guys, just before we start tonight's episode, there might be a few spoilers in here for Valley of Memory regarding the ending, the intro. So just so you know, spoilers ahead. Enjoy the DLC and enjoy the show, guys. Hi there, Assassins, and welcome to episode 19 of Rally the Creed Live. We are a weekly Assassin's Creed community podcast focusing on content creators, news coverage, and everything else relating to the franchise. So a massive thank you to everyone who supported the show so far. We really appreciate it. And we do apologise for the recent episode delays. We have had a few issues behind the scenes, but our editor Charlie has resolved it now. Episodes 17 and 18 are available now on YouTube and Spotify. And I do apologise if I sound a bit different tonight, guys. I've been suffering with a cold, so I'm powering through. So thank you for putting up with my voice. And if my energy's low, it's just because of this cold taking a beating on me. But tonight's guest is someone I've been really looking forward to speak with. He's a pillar of the Assassin's Creed community. He's someone who's been creating content for the early days of Assassin's Creed. He's been with us since the start of the franchise, I believe. He's an Assassin's Creed community ambassador in Italy, and he's been a huge part of Assassin's Creed for so long now. He is someone who has taken part in many of the fan programs over the years, so the Mentors Guild, Ubisoft Star Players, recently Veteran Master for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this is something that was given to key members of the community. He's the co-coordinator of Access the Animus, one of the co-creators, and he has a very analytical approach to Assassin's Creed content, many years of dedication to the series, and we're thrilled to have him. So please welcome Marco, aka Shadow Marcus from Access the Animus. Welcome.
Hello. Oh my God, what an intro. Thank you so much. I'm so humble. Thank you so much.
It's great to have you. I've been looking forward to this.
That's crazy. Like, such an intro, and I've seen some like past episodes of Rally the Creed, and your intros are always top notch. Like, mwah.
Thank you.
This is amazing, man.
Well, there's a lot to say. You've been doing this so long, and
Yeah.
I really want to get into like where it all started, because
Sure.
Access the Animus is probably one of the biggest communities out there in terms of Assassin's Creed communities. It's been there since before I started in 2014, so it's something that provides like reliable information. These days it's moved more towards like videos and stuff, where in the past it was very written, and it's definitely moved across to like videos and live streams. So I feel like you guys are on every platform. You've got the website, and you are just like a huge presence in the Assassin's Creed community. So I'd love to get into like the origins of Access the Animus, like where the name came from, what inspired you to start it, like the team structure as well, because I know you guys are based in Italy, but I wanted to know if you guys still have members around the world. But yeah, I'd love to get into the origins of Access the Animus and how you first got involved with Assassin's Creed.
Okay, so in terms of like getting involved with Assassin's Creed, I still remember like I used to play a lot of games around 2006, 7, and 8. While in my slow times at the university, while I wasn't studying, I used to play a lot of games. And I already shared, like, playing with Sari, who at the time was my girlfriend. And we did play Assassin's Creed 1, enjoyed the game. It was really nice because I didn't expect to have like a modern day aside along with the historical part that was promoted, etc. I enjoyed the ending. I have vague memories of already going to the wiki to understand what had happened in that ludicrous ending in the modern day. But then at the time it didn't click to, for me to, get more interested in the brand, because at the time we didn't even know if there was going to be, a brand and a franchise going on. And then I kept playing multiple games, and 2009 came, and of course it was a game set in Italy, so of course that I'm Italian, and so at the time it was crazy for Italy, especially to be represented in a game. Definitely something that people did not expect. And I remember, for me, the moment that it clicked that I really wanted to get more involved and be more interested in the franchise was the first glyph puzzle of Assassin's Creed 2, which I don't remember the actual clue, that was mentioned, but it was a reference. You had to find elements in common between the pictures, and it was the Apple of Eden, basically. And I stayed there trying to thinking like the elements that were in common between these pictures. And I was like, after some time, I remember the original game and how the apple was at the center of that. And I was like, oh my God, it's the apple. So this is set throughout history. So this is not just a game set in the Levant or a game set in Italy, but it's like a whole franchise going into history. And I was like a history buff at the time already. Like I was very much into history and seeing stories that delve both with a historical part and a recent / modern day part. I was already into that at the time, so having that in the games, like in games which were like my favorite, thing to spend time with, like free time, etc. So after I got that much involved in AC2, I started lurking in the forums at the time, especially the Italian ones. And around 2010, I joined an Italian forum. It was called Le Verità dell'Animus, which meant the truth of the Animus. And I started getting involved in that. And I started writing comments that were like super long, like pages and pages of comments. And that's how I started, creating these sort of like articles. I started analyzing the glyph puzzles and what they meant for the story, blah, 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 blah. And at some point I got involved with the other person that was managing that forum. And we had a run for, I think, up until 2011. And at some point, 2011-ish, I hit, it was between 2011 and 2012-ish, I hit a sort of like a burn down because I was getting too involved with writing and creating content, etc. And I was taking time away from my personal life and stuff like that. I recently watched the episode of Rally the Creed with Andy Reloads, and you guys discussed the burnout topic a lot, and it was really interesting to see some elements in common at the time. With what I experienced back in 2011, 2012. So I left the Le Verità dell'Animus and stayed on my own. And at some point after I, let's say, collected myself again, I tried and like discussed with Sari and say, why don't we do a thing of our own? So instead of taking time away from each other while enjoying stuff like this, can we do this thing together? And so around 2012, early 2013, we started thinking of creating an initiative of our own. And we gathered some of the people that were also involved in the comments and in the forums for Assassin's Creed at the time. We're still talking about Italian people and Italian content. And we brainstormed how to call our project and our initiative. And we wanted the initiative to represent that you are accessing information that you might not find anywhere, like not like super like public general information, but even more specific stuff, and also represent that this is about the lore, or initially it was like what differentiates us from other pages is we're also not just sharing information and news, but also getting into the story elements and etc., and at a very deep level, so for hardcore fans also. And so we came with different names. I think the last the ones that I remember along with Access the Animus, it was the Sync Nexus, which was so tough to say, so we discarded that. But the idea was the Sync Nexus is this area that was introduced in Assassin's Creed Revelations, so where Desmond talks with the Isu. So it was like, this is like a secluded place where you get information that you can't find anywhere else. So that was the idea, but it was so tough to say, so we discarded that. And Accessing the Animus felt a little better. It was there was a reference to the main track for Assassin's Creed 1 by Jesper Kyd, and at the same time, it was easy to say, it was easy to shorten in ATA, easy to say in English as well, even though we started as an Italian initiative at the time as well. And that was in May 11th, 2013. So during the campaign for Blackflag, basically. And so we started like that. And it was a group of five, let's say 6 Italian people. It was me, Sari, and 4 other members that are not in the team anymore. Omar, Giuseppe, Andrea, Alessandro. We all had our functions and things to do within the group. There were graphics designers. Omar was also an architect, so he created articles on the design of the cities of Assassin's Creed, which was quite amazing. Giuseppe and I delved very much into the articles, because it was like a written initiative at the time, like you mentioned earlier, and it was for a long time up until 2020. And then we had Sari, my wife, who self-taught being a webmaster, because she never had any courses or anything. And but at the time, like a few years prior to starting ATA, we also have a, how do you call it in English, a kennel. We have different. We have a lot of. We used to have a lot of dogs of the same breed. I'm not sure if the actual word in English is kennel or like, yeah, okay. And for some big dogs, they're called South Russian Shepherds, which we used to breed at home at my parents. By the way, at the time, 2011, something like that, I also tried to write to Ubi Workshop to say, hey, you are having a comic about Russia with Assassin's Creed: The Fall. If you're gonna have another one, you can feature these Russian dogs. It's gonna be amazing. They never answered.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been amazing. But yeah, so 2013 we start. It was basically all Italian, and then just a few months after, because of the news that were the news posts that we created, they were in Italian, but they were referencing and showing stuff from the early stages of Twitter, where Ubisoft was very good in sharing stuff on Twitter, and nobody knew where and how to look for information. We used to share stuff on our social media, and people from all over the world came to us and asking, "What is this about? I don't know Italian. What is this about?" And so very quickly, within 6 months, we decided to shift to Italian and English. And so Stefania, our translator, also joined us. And so at the time, there were 7 of us within the team. And then we went on sharing information, articles, etc., etc. The odd video here and there, but without videos being our focus. Then throughout the years, I think it was around 2014 and 15, some of the members of the team left to pursue their own things. And in 2015, Soroses joined us. She is our main reviewer still. She is very much dedicated to writing articles about the plot of the series, and especially modern day and Isu stuff. and Juno especially, she's quite sad that she's not around up until the next time, because like throughout the podcast we're going to discuss, you shared the various topics. We're going to discuss Desmond being still alive, which we kind of knew already, but I don't know, she would love for Juno to still be alive. Anyway, after that we also had Mathieu, our collection specialist, join us. He is less active than he was a few years ago, but he helped us a lot in understanding and having more visibility on the collectibles for the franchise, which between 2015 and 2020 and 2022, it was like so tough to keep track of all the collectibles in the world, because obviously because of licensing deals and Ubisoft being having collectibles and content available only in specific markets, which was obviously difficult for hardcore fans to get everything if they wanted to, or it made it very expensive, as it still is, to get more stuff from across the world. And yeah, so we kept on keeping on for years, and then in 2020, with COVID, we did have, especially I did have more free time in my hand, because as we all did, we stayed at home as much as we could. So other than the time for work, I was at home and I had more time, and I decided, hey, why don't we pivot a little bit towards videos? Up until that time, our videos were made mostly by Sari, but she didn't really have that much time to do them on a regular basis. So I asked her to teach me how to use Premiere Pro and other software. And it took me some time, but at the same time, a little bit like I started very basic, and at the same time we already had a relationship with Ubisoft that we had grown over time since, I would say, 2012-ish, because like the community managers have changed obviously over the years. Every now and then, when the community team changes, you have to rebuild the relationship. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, because we've all been through this. And so yeah, at the time in 2020, throughout the campaign for Valhalla, we did have we were offered to see some of the content in advance, create some content. So we got some access to previews, which was also not really something that had happened to us before that. I did notice that creating videos on your channel, it got you more noticed in order to have more chances to participate in previews, etc. And so I would say we were both lucky, and at the same time we tried, and I specifically tried to put a lot of effort in making use of the opportunities that we were presented with. So the few times that we participated in previews, I tried and make as many videos as I could, even if I didn't know that, like, nothing about how to do them. So sometimes it was just videos with the audio from our preview without me even saying anything. And I remember, like Andy mentioned in that episode of Rally the Creed, I went back recently and watched my videos from that time. I made so many pauses. It was so boring to listen to me. It's so crazy. But yeah, basically we started, I started pivoting a little bit more my ATA activity towards videos, while the articles were handled by Socrates. And so we were trying to, trying to differentiate a little bit, which kind of helped. And then 2021, I would say 2022 to 2024 slash early 2025, I had a number of issues in life and work was quite tough. So I didn't have as much time as I could to pour into the video. So we slowed down a little bit, and I was able to fix a little bit of that, especially my work issues around this summer. So now in September, October, I started back to have a little bit more activity on ATA. We are having a little bit more videos recently. So yeah, that's the long story. Compact story of like 10 years of activity. Well, 11 now.
That was really great to give set out like a timeline of where it all started and everything. Like you've come such a long way as well. Like hearing about how it was very much like a trial and error sort of scenario where
definitely
what worked. And I think that's the thing with content creation. Like you say, you do just have to keep going, and then the more you do it, the better you get. And then on reflection, we can look back and be like, oh, look how we used to do things. I'm exactly the same with my videos. Like looking back to the origins, and it is crazy how far you can come in like a 10-year period.
Definitely. I had the same feeling. It's like going back. You have like very good memories, but at the same time, if you look at the content, you're saying, "Oh my God, was that me?" But at the same time, like Andy mentioned in that episode, you have to start from there. And if you don't start somewhere, you're never going to better yourself. I think that applies to content creation, but also any other area in life. So really, you have to start somewhere.
That's it. I can definitely see comparisons in the way my content creation journey started as well. I mean, you were saying about writing for the forums. I used to be on the Ubisoft forums. So back in like 2013, 2014. So I set up the ones that came before in 2014. And in 2013, I was actually more interested in Watch Dogs and like that sort of thing, and Splinter Cell and things like that on the Ubisoft forum. So I started that way. And then I was gifted Assassin's Creed in 2014, I think it was, Assassin's Creed 2. And then from there, I started writing on the forums. And then it's interesting because my content creation journey very much goes hand in hand with Access the Animus. Because when I sort of created like a Twitter account and everything, I used to be like an informer for Access the Animus. So like in my very early days, because of time zones as well, I'd stumble across like Assassin's Creed news, and I'd be in the messages to Access the Animus. So I'd be like messaging like information and like
that's so much time ago. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's almost like without you creating that project, I might not have created this project. So it's like I'm sort of like a spin-off in a way, I guess. So the reason I created the ones that came before is because I realized because of time zones, the UK is ahead. So when like in Italy, you guys an hour difference. Let's say it's like 10, 11 p.m. at night. It'd be like 9, 10 here. So like more people are awake. So that was why I created the ones that came before, and it was like thought I can be as quick as I can because like I'm awake at this time and I can get stuff out. And I was like messaging and sending loads of people intel. And I was like, I can do this myself and set something up and try to do something a bit different. Where for me it was more like theories and things. Where I guess Access the Animus is very like analysis of things that are already out there, like you say, the glyphs, puzzles, decoding. You guys are great with languages as well, and decoding languages, and it's incredible. Like no one does what you guys do. And like even in like the early days of like Access the Animus, I remember you guys being this like huge like figurehead, and like you guys were initiate envoys as well, which is really cool. So we all used to play Assassin's Creed initiates, and you guys had like high ranks on that, and you were like analyzing all the lore and data on there. It was really great.
Yes, we used to do that.
The progression. It's cool to see that how far it's come, really.
Yeah, definitely. Like initiates was something something else. It's still part of a little piece of my heart. And at the time there were like codes and things to understand and crack, and it was quite cool at the time already. And we already used to dabble with Morse codes and like all the good stuff that they threw at us. It was quite crazy. Oh, by the way, I wanted to take the occasion. I saw Mathieu in the chat. Scott as well. Hello, guys. Nice to see you.
I'm glad you brought Math up, because we've said about Access the Animus being very like Italy focused, but I believe Math's based in Canada.
Yes.
So he would be one of your first international members.
Yes, definitely. Like we went international starting, I would say 2015, 16, something like that. Soros she lives in the UK, but she is Romanian. So we unintentionally try to get more international. And something that I was really happy to see is that throughout time, we as a team very much reflected the messages that were placed at the start of the early Assassin's Creed games. Like we are a team of different cultural beliefs and different orientations and stuff like that. So unintentionally, but it came out really naturally, and it's really nice to still going on like that.
It's really cool to hear as well that you remember like the origins of the franchise in like 2007, because that's like way before I started. So it's really cool to have like community members from the original days. There can't be many.
Yeah, I mean, now the franchise is 18 years old. Yes, 18 years old. It's like it's an adult now. As a franchise, there are people that were not there when the franchise started. So it's quite crazy to think about it. I'm 39 now, so I was how much time? I was
21.
21. What did it say? 18. I was 27. Okay, I was 27 when it started. I think 27 or 28, something like that. So so crazy to even think about that.
I guess one thing I also wanted to discuss as well is how, like, at the core of Access the Animus is your loving relationship with Sari, and she's always been there for you, and it's pivotal. Like without Marco and Sari, there is no Access the Animus really. So I wanted to get into that and how supportive she's been over the years.
Oh yeah, definitely. So like I mentioned earlier, before 2013. I cultivated my passion for Assassin's Creed on my own. And Sarah and I have lived together since we started university. So basically, we met each other in high school. We spent high school together, but we weren't together at the time. And we got together at the end of the final year, like after the end of the final year when we graduated. During the summer before starting university, we got together. And because we live in a small town between Turin and Milan, and we went to study university in Turin, both of us. It was engineering for me and veterinary medicine for her. We decided to get an apartment on rent together, and also with another guy for the first year, and then this guy left, and so we basically lived together since we were 19 years old, something like that. And we started sharing stuff together, right? Because when you live together, you go for groceries together, you go for any kind of stuff together. Like you start understanding how to manage a house, even if it's not the one you own, but you still, maybe it's even like you have to be more focused into not breaking stuff and whatnot. So since we were 19, we spent time together. But as for what concerned Assassin's Creed, I focused myself. Like it wasn't something that Sari wasn't into that much when the game released. We played together, but there was that. And so when after playing the first glyph and having like that moment, I just focused myself on Assassin's Creed, and that was up until 2011 when I had 2011 and 2012 we had like some kind of like issue in I wasn't organizing properly my time, and I was focusing too much on this kind of stuff and less on personal life. And so when we started ATA, we decided from the get-go to say this is a thing that we're doing together, right? So she got involved pretty heavily. Like she still is part of the team, and she does a lot of stuff still, even though it's not I don't know, in the front. Or participating in events, not as much. But at the time, 2012, and the 10 years after, or 14 years after, 12 years after, we were basically representing ATA, both because at the start, the team was fully Italian, but the only two people that were actually able to have like proper conversations in English, it was just the two of us. So in order to represent ATA beyond Italy, it could only be the two of us. And so we participated in the event. And so we did stuff together. And because this was part of a thing that we enjoyed doing together, it was much more fun to do, obviously. We were sharing a passion, for sure. And that also helped a lot when, in creating content for sure, but also in cracking the puzzles, in, solving problems within the project. So it was easier to face issues together, even limited to ATA, not just in life, but also within our small bubble and our small initiative. So yeah, basically, I cannot see this any differently. Like now, like I said, Sari is less present, like in the front, in the face of ATA, but she is working in the background, always helping, especially Soros with her articles. Like she's still our webmaster, and she's working behind the scenes for other stuff that we still are not revealing yet. Like we have like secret stuff working every time. Like something that I realized a few years ago is that the idea, the concept of being a content creator is that you can never stop, and that is a good and a bad thing that leads to burnout. But at the same time, when you're not in burnout, I don't know if it's the same for you, but you're always thinking not just about what you're working right now, but about the next project and the next one. And because I'm an engineer, and so I'm like squared like this, like it's not, I try to be creative, but it's not really my thing. I'm more like towards the organizing aspects of life. So sometimes I find myself thinking, okay, I'm gonna do and produce this video up until this day, and then I can start working on that other video, and then I can do that post, and then I can do that and that and that and that. So it's something that comes with being a content creator, but at the same time, it's always so cool to think of all the cool information and all the cool content that you can share with others, right? So basically,
I love to hear about like the support Sari's given you, even like behind the scenes now. She's still doing stuff. So I think it's really lovely that there is like a love story at the center of Access the Animus. And I think it does make it different from any of the other communities out there. Really, like it is a more personal story, which is really nice.
I mean, right now she is mostly working on the articles when Sources writes them, but I'm gonna say, and she's also working on that secret project. But other than that, I can not about like now, but you mentioned earlier about us trying to figure out how to crack like the languages and the how to translate stuff. Something that we did at the time, 2020, again, that was like a year where like sort of like a rebirth for ATA. And I remember having these epiphanies with Sari, because like we spent nights, like I wouldn't say full nights, but hours, most of the nights, in staying in front of these the Isu language pictures, hoping that those could speak to us, and they didn't. But sometimes we were coupling our knowledge together, right? Because we went both of us went to the same high school where they taught Latin, and Latin and how it is organized as a language, it helped us trying to figure out the Isu language. And I remember us having all these epiphanies together, and that was like, there were moments where we're, oh my God, it's that, and we hugged each other and like cheesy stuff that I'm not gonna mention, but it was really like a shared process, and that is just an example. At the same time, in Valhalla, there were also the sequences where Eivor goes to Vinland, and there's a tale taught in the Kanyenkahaga language. And Sari took care of that, of like reaching the community centers of those areas in the US. Wow. To get help in the translation for that time. It's something that we worked, we matched each other, right? So she is more creative. She knows more on the tech side for like being a webmaster and doing all that kind of stuff. I'm more into the lore and into cracking puzzles, but she's also very good at that. Like she is the mind behind how we crack the puzzles. Over the years, it's mostly been her, and sometimes I've helped, and then I created the content after she cracked the puzzles. So it is something that we have shared now for 11 years, 12 years, along with other things in life, because obviously now we're married and we're sharing many more things together. So yeah, it's so nice, and it's so difficult sometimes to be able to share with your loved one the passion for content creation or a specific topic and a specific brand that you are never gonna stop talking about, right? You can get like, you can become like a hassle, like you can be perceived as repetitive or but somebody that loves you can be understanding, let's put it like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of the way it went in my relationship. So when me and my wife Ashley got together, I was very much like Assassin's Creed content creator. It was like what I did every single second outside of university. And I think over the years, like, she was really supportive. But I think when my little boy was born, it just became like maybe my focus should have been more on obviously like childcare arrangements and stuff, where I was very much like glued to my screen, like at the same time as being a dad. So it's like, that's why when our second child's born in March, I am taking a step away from content creation, just because I think she fell out of love with Assassin's Creed, where there was a time where she tried to learn everything about the franchise to please me. I think it was more than anything. but it just became like to the point where it was like, no, like we need to like reprioritize. And
Yeah,
yeah, I just sort of realized as well myself that, yeah, there are other things in life. So it's all about balance, isn't it? And that's the key to all
definitely.
these things.
I think you made the right decision. You get the right call, because there are priorities in life, and it definitely isn't necessarily a game or an article or a video. Definitely, it's always about the balance, and it's something that I came to understand as well over the years. And it's the same that happened to me in 2022 to 2024, when my my job took me it was very far from where I live. It was in Milan, which it was very tough to reach. I had to wake up at 6 a.m. and be back at home at 9 p.m. So I didn't have any energy to even try and create content, because getting back home all the time, I wanted to just devote to my wife, because otherwise I wouldn't have any time with her. In the weekend was just to recharge in order to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning again.
Sounds so tiring.
Yeah, it was very tough. And it wasn't just tiring physically, but because Milan is this huge city, driving throughout it, I can imagine. I imagine you must have felt the same in London, for example. Driving around Milan is so crazy, makes you so nervous, and you feel even more tired when you get back home. So I was so dead throughout the week, and mid of Saturday as well, I was still recharging, and then I had like a day and a half to do everything that I hadn't done throughout the week. So sometimes content creation was like, just I can't. And now it's a bit different. I shifted jobs during the summer, so now it's a little bit better.
It sounds like you've got a really good balance now, and it also sounds like the structure of ATA is working really well. You've got someone focusing on articles. Obviously, there's the video side of things, and it's like a really good like balance of people around the world. And you've always had like a great network around you. And Sari's a good example of that. And to give people at home a bit of an understanding of how big Access the Animus is now, could you give us a bit of in terms of like numbers and like platforms, like roughly?
Oh, on the platforms, you mean?
It's a huge network now, Access the Animus.
So yeah, basically, let's see if I remember the numbers correctly, but on roughly we have, I think, 48k subscribers on YouTube. A similar number on Facebook. Facebook was our first, let's say, flagship social media at the time, where everybody was there. Now, obviously, it's changed. It's let's say the base in the people in there, but at the same time, I'm seeing that it's starting to get back. To have more fans in there recently. Then for a very long time, we focused on Twitter/X. I keep calling it Twitter, and I will never stop doing that. And in there, we are around 90k, something like that, maybe more.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy. There was a time around 2016, 2017 with Origins, which was like the reboot of the franchise. Where our Twitter account it boosted for I don't know which reason. We never even thought of boosting our accounts, so it was all natural and organic, and I was shocked to see sometimes like hundreds or thousands of subscribers or followers in the same day. Something that never happened afterwards. It's slower now, obviously. And then after all the issues with Twitter and the ideas and hypotheses of it being acquired before it actually got acquired, we thought of a number of different additional Social media, we tried Mastodon, didn't work, or I didn't put enough energy in that. So I'm gonna take responsibility on that. And then we started a Blue Sky profile, which I'm actually trying to keep up to date, because I feel that some of the people that migrated off of Twitter because of everything involving Musk and whatnot, most of them migrated to Blue Sky. An example is Darby McDevitt, but I'm just not thinking only of him. I'm thinking of friends. I'm thinking of members of the community, etc., etc. So we got that in order to keep any potential kind of relationship. And then a few years ago, we started our Discord profile as well. That I have no idea how many members we do have. It's probably beyond 1,000, but I wouldn't be able to say a number. I didn't check it. But yeah, Discord was a platform that for a number of years I was just there contemplating whether to migrate in there or not. And then I did see that the discourse did move there as well. Like the news sharing stayed on Twitter, but a good chunk of the Discord, the actual live discourse, moved to Discord. And we really wanted to have our own platform in that regard. And we built it with Sari and the other members of the team. And then we got a mod team in there. There's Nick Ikrake, there's Wolfie. We have Zark, Master Kate, we have Assassinos. We have a lot of members in the mod team that we're calling, because ACA, we always had the graphics about our visuals are always about Abstergo and being sort of like a Templar visual. We call them the Black Crosses in our Discord. And yeah, it's quite active, to be honest. I've seen a number of people that are very active in there. They share info, theories, commentary, not just on our content, but everything that is happening worldwide. So those are all our social media, and we do not have Instagram. Which
very good. I mean, Matt's putting some numbers in the chat as well. Discord 1,490 members. YouTube 48.8. So
thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Somewhere between 150k and 200k overall, which is a huge project, really. It's seriously impressive.
Yeah, it is huge, and it's been almost 12 years. Like, it's going to be 12 years on May the 11th next year. Every year we try and have celebrations. And I was my mood was so dampened in the last few years because I didn't have time to do anything because of work and personal issues within my family. That for our anniversary, we weren't able to create what I envisioned to do. I hope that next year we'll be able to create more stuff. We used to have we used to have like full weeks of content. Like every day we had cool stuff that we share. Now we shrunk that to one day of celebrations, but I want to go back to do more.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that in May. And I wanted to get back to your relationship with Ubisoft. So before we mentioned, obviously, every time a community team comes in, meeting all these people and establishing relationships early on, and then quite often they'll move on to other projects, and then you have to sort of establish a relationship with the next people. But someone I wanted to mention who was there from the start and was pivotal for creating an Assassin's Creed community team was Gabe Graziani.
Oh,
And
yes.
I imagine this is someone you're really familiar with and have had lots of
Yeah,
experiences with, but he's like the OG, the original Assassin's
definitely.
Creed community developer. And I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about your time when he worked for Ubisoft and on the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Okay. So for a long time, I kept looking at Gabe as this like OG community developer, like you mentioned, but that he was being, this bridge between the dev team, who was like something like the gods and so far from us, and us lowly mortals, right? This is how a lot of us felt in 2009, 2010, 2011. That's where also Ubisoft was learning how to present its content and how to bring it towards people. And so Gabe was the face of that. Like he was partaking in these videos where he discussed the features, discussed some of the collectibles as well. He made these videos about answering questions by the community, which was like it's so easy and common right now. At the time, it was like, oh my god, he's gonna actually read my question, and he's gonna actually answer amidst the thousands that he's surely gonna receive and stuff like that. So for a long time, I actually learned a little bit and a little bit also emulated what he did on Twitter. I'm a late adopter of any kind of technology, social media. I joined Facebook very late. I joined Twitter very late. I was lurking, but without having a profile in there. And so I followed Gabe for a long time, and then started chatting with him once we started ATA. Before that, I sent messages here and there, but it was just random messages. Sometimes I wrote to devs as well. Sometimes I got answers. Sometimes I did not. I have a memory about sending a message to Jeffrey Yohalem, the writer of the glyphs. The glyph puzzles, the cluster puzzles, Syndicate, Project Legacy. He wrote a lot of stuff, and I wrote to him saying I love the work you did on the glyph puzzles, and he said something like it was a labor of love. I cannot imagine how much work went into those. But anyway, back to the topic. I met Gabe in 2014. And that's because at the time the community developers came to Gamescom. Like after that, it was mostly community managers, but he actually came to Gamescom, and that was the first time we actually met live. And it was incredible. Like it was so cool to see somebody that you see online and meeting him live. He was so super easygoing, so nice to talk to and to chat with, and especially he really was focused on highlighting the community. So at the time for Gamescom, it was 2014. It was Unity, basically. It was being marketed there. The blunder at release had still not happened. And both him and our Italian rep at the time, they tried to provide us with so many opportunities that we had not planned for. Like Sarah and I said, okay, this is our first time. That was our first time going to Gamescom, and we were just like, okay, we're going there, see if we can take a few pictures, maybe play the demo, which wasn't a demo. It was just you had to watch a developer play, and that already was a red flag. Yeah. But anyway, we met Gabe, and he said, "Oh yeah, we have our producer here. You could interview him." And it was like there was Vincent Pompean, and he was like this long-lasting producer. He had worked on AC2, Brotherhood, etc., etc. And he got us an interview with him, and then he got us an interview with another dev that had at the time there was the Ubisoft Lounge, which was this. I'm sure you've seen it. You were there. You saw it.
Yes.
This location where fans could go there and participate in master classes. And I had an interview with him as well. And I had an interview with Gabe as well. And I remember there were people saying, "Hey, you guys are lookalikes." At the time, a lot of people said, "Hey, you look like Gabe." And probably it was just because of the goatee. But yeah, and after that, our relationship continued. Not so frequently, but every now and then we did get to chat. And when he went back to be a comm dev for AC with Valhalla, he did provide with some opportunities, including testing the demo for Valhalla in the summer, which it had never happened to us. Like in 2014 we did get a B-roll for Unity, and we created some of our strongest videos up until that moment. And then we never got any B-roll up until probably Valhalla.
Surprised by that?
Yeah. The thing is, my perception is, or was at least at the time, that you must have seen it. Communities handled in a way at Ubisoft, and what at the time were called content creators or YouTubers were handled by a different team.
Right.
And different teams were able to share different content. So the marketing teams usually shared more content with the content creators and the YouTubers, while community usually had less access overall. That has changed recently. I'm sure you felt it as well. But yeah, for a long, we did get, I don't even recall how, but we did get a B-roll for Unity, and we created so many videos out of that. And then we got it, maybe one for Origins, and then up until Valhalla. So yeah, and Gabe was pivotal in that. So Gabe really helped us getting some opportunities to grow our channel and to grow and to be able to share content and focusing on content that other creators that had access maybe glossed over because it wasn't their focus. Like we usually focus more on details and story, while other creators focus more on gameplay and details on gameplay, etc., etc. So I think that's also why Gabe at the time made or suggested our name for that kind of access. And I was so sad to see him leave, but yeah, I mean, we all move on with our lives.
That's it. And I was lucky enough to meet Gabe myself at 2016 at Gamescom, and that was my Ubisoft Star Player adventure. So that was incredible. It was my first time abroad on a plane. So I was only 17 or 18, and they flew me over to Germany, and that was where we met for the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was a young boy. Yeah.
I mean, Sari said because she wasn't there when we met last time. Sari said, "Oh my God, look at Colin! He's grown up. I remember him as a little boy."
Yeah, I'm a dad now.
Because it like you and Sari, it's been a long time since you've met. I think.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, we really need to meet. I don't know, again at Gamescom somewhere.
Definitely. Yeah, Math's just put in the comment. Cole's got a beard now and 2 kids.
Exactly.
And 2 kids, Math.
Exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
Moving on in life.
Yeah, but Gabe's just a good example of someone who created that bridge between community and developers. And there's been a few others over the years as well. I'm thinking Clement, and also we've had Dom here as well, who's a big one.
Dom is another piece in my heart.
just amazing people who've worked for Ubisoft and have really cared about the community and have made things happen, you know, opened doors, given us
Yeah,
opportunities.
definitely.
That's the cool thing as well. Like, without these opportunities and Ubisoft sort of giving us these experiences, we wouldn't have had like half the content created. So it sort of goes hand in hand, like a partnership.
Yeah.
So they give us access and we create the content, and it's always like in good faith that they sort of extend an olive branch for us and we do something with it. And like you say, doing the interviews, that is such a cool opportunity as well. And yeah, really great to see like how the community's come on. And these days Ubisoft are really great at giving loads of people access to things. And like, I know for many years, I mean, I've had access to every Assassin's Creed game since Unity, like in advance, which is really great of them. And the same for my team as well. So they've always been really great with that. And that's the thing. We've always had a strong relationship with Ubisoft as ambassadors, and you know, we've traveled around the world doing things for them. And yeah, it's just really cool to be like in the inner circle of Ubisoft and to be like a voice of the community. And I know we're both very thankful for it. And hopefully we've contributed to the series over the years in positive ways. And yeah, it's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It has been, and yeah, and I also wanted to mention that it's not just about the content and the opportunities, but also about the people. Like something that I used to mention in the past, but it still works now. It's that when you get to meet the devs and the community developers, but also the people that actually work directly on the game, like all the marketing people, like when you get to meet them very much ever so frequently or all the times, you do feel the passion, you do see how much they are into the project that they are working on, and when you get to meet them, it's definitely, they're not the gods up there, but they are, you know, they are people that enjoy the same things that we do, and it's so nice. It's so nice to get to chat with them, and sometimes to organize stuff as well, because it's sometimes they do organize stuff that we can participate in, and sometimes like we did at Gamescom in the past, we organize stuff that they participate in. So it's something where the relationships between people are at the core, in my opinion, and then the content comes with it. But yeah, I think that especially at the level of community rather than, you know, marketing and YouTubers, I feel like we used to get less access in terms of content, but more access in terms of people and relations with other fans, and how Ubisoft related to those fans, especially at conventions, but also on social media, etc., which is something that I think the other creators experienced a little less, at least in the past years, while recently Ubisoft has pivoted a little bit to uniform a little bit things for everybody, which isn't half bad, to be honest. But yeah, in the past, it has been a ride, like you said. Like so many things have happened, so many experiences. Like, because the thing is, the relationship with people is what leaves a memory with you. And what is a man but the sum of their memories? So I feel like meeting in person and going to conventions and having the chance to do online activities, etc., that's what's leaving a mark on you. That's what leaving a memory with you, and you're gonna carry them forever.
Absolutely. I think that's really special as well. The people you meet along the way, and we've all met friends for life within this community. It's incredible, really, when you think you've got friends in the Assassin's Creed community all around the world.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Sorry. Yeah. We have met so many people around the world, and again, it happened. Part of it was organic because for a long time where Assassin's Creed had a presence at conventions like Gamescom and the now defunct E3, etc. That was a gathering point for the community because they had both a show floor presence, but also a behind the closed doors press presence. So I would say since 2010, even though I did not go to Gamescom up until 2014, up until with Valhalla for sure. Mirage, I don't recall if they had a presence at Gamescom. Probably they did. So I guess that having these events at conventions, it naturally gathered people from either like at E3, it gathered people from all the US and Canada, and Gamescom, it gathered people from all across Europe, and sometimes even from people across the pond. And having a presence in there, it gathered the devs and it gathered the community. And that is why we were able to create those activities that bridged these two groups together. And it was so cool. And that's one of the best experiences that I had within the community, because like I said, it's not only about the content and about the story, about the game, but it's more about the people that you meet and the friendships that you make along the way that will stay with you maybe even after the franchise is done, if it ever is going to be done. Far from now, hopefully, but yeah. So yeah, it's been an experience, and it's been an experience for me. I could say since 2010 when I started at the time, just in Italy. It's 15 years already. Oh my god,
that's crazy, isn't it? And I guess to wrap this section up, I wanted to talk about our time together in the Mentors Guild.
Oh yes.
Which was pretty pivotal. We've sort of gone talked about before and after, in terms of the timeline, but the Mentors Guild was at one point central to Assassin's Creed community members, and there was a structure within that where members of the Mentors Guild were generally the ones who would attend the events and be present for interviewing the developers and stuff. And I think you were in the original Mentors Guild, where I was in the second wave of it when they opened it up a bit more around the world.
I think it was actually the first group. It was 10 people.
Right.
I wasn't there because Sari was called. And they could only have one from only one person. Oh, Leo K, hello.
Hi, Leo. Welcome, mate.
And what was I saying? Oh, yeah, it was 10 people. I'm not sure I would be able to make the list.
Yeah.
But Faye was there. Turul, Dylan was there. Master Simayi from the Wiki was there. Clement, the now
White
community
Room
developer, was one of the community members that was part of the original member.
That's so cool.
And I was not called, and I was told, hey, we can only have one member of ATA. And I was like, okay, sure. Can I pay my travel to get there anyway? And I actually went to Canada, even though I could not get into the studio. But Sari told me all the stories about what happened in there. I wonder if we could talk about that. I mean, it's been 8 years.
NDAs from 8 years ago. We'll have to find out and do a follow-up episode. I don't want to get you in trouble. That's cool, though.
But yeah, cool. I mean, she told me a little that was the year of Origins. That was December 2016 or January 2017, something like that. That was the first Mentor Guild group, and I went there, and because I couldn't go in the studio because they didn't have access for me, I actually met with Mathieu throughout the day. Mathieu, I think he's still in the chat. Yeah, he's remembering that time. And basically we spent the day together across Montreal, and then Ubisoft was kind enough to invite us to the dinner, so we could at least go to the dinner. There, I think I met Tristan Delala, the voice actor for
Adewale.
And yeah, I met the other friends that I had met online. So that's where I met Dylan for the first time, Faye, etc., and Clem. Well, Clem I had met already at Gamescom. Yes. So that was the very first draft of the Mentors Guild. It was very limited in terms of it was just 10 people. It was closed. It wasn't public. It was a private group. And it worked really well. I think I was in the second draft, which was for 2018. I was called for a workshop for Odyssey.
I was in it by then.
Sorry?
I was in it by then.
You were in it by then?
Yeah, yes. So I must have been in a very similar time then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
There was quite a lot of people at that point.
Yeah,
so
it was.
When they did really open it up, it was like 10 people would be added one day, and then like a week later, it was like they gradually opened it up to people.
But I think that happened later. Wasn't that 2019? Because I think it was still closed over 2018, and in the workshop, it was a legendary workshop for a lot of stuff that happened. And then I think the workshop opened up in 2019 and 20, especially. I think
it was different in the UK because we were already.
Oh, maybe the UK was different. Yeah.
We were part of a group called Rally the Creed, which is where this podcast gets its name from.
Ah, really?
It was like a special UK group with like 10 of us, and then we were like doing our own things as well. You know, with like a bit like I guess around that time, like the symphony and like going to London.
I remember that.
Did stuff for Odyssey as well at one point. So it's like back and forth, like London trips and stuff. And we were sort of doing stuff for like 2 years under the name of Rally the Creed, which was different. And then we from Rally the Creed, they ran out of funding for like UK exclusives, so they sort of merged us with the Mentors Guild. So it was like we all joined. So yeah, in the end, it all got smashed together, and there was like 100+ people, and it was like a big group. But yeah, fun times. I love all the merchandise and stuff they used to send us, and obviously meeting people at the events, and so got some really cool stuff. Like, I mean, I imagine you've got very similar. I think I've shown this one before, but like incredible pieces.
Mentor Altair.
Like really special. The creator of the merchandise was so talented.
Yeah.
But yeah, great times and great memories. But I'm gonna push us on to looking at more recent Assassin's Creed stuff. So a nice trip down memory lane there. But I'm gonna talk about what's been going on recently, and there's been so much recently. And I guess the big news now is the Assassin's Creed Mirage DLC has launched. Valley of Memory. I wonder, have you completed it, and have you been enjoying it?
I have completed it. I haven't been able to. I completed the story. I haven't been able to not nearly 100% it because I mean this and the previous week were fully dedicated to content creation this weekend as well, and probably the next week because of what is happening on Tuesday. So I completed the main story for Valley of Memory. I enjoyed it so very much. I think it's a very valuable DLC, especially for being for being free. The story is quite okay, I would say. The ending is selling the whole DLC probably. Like the ending is so very good, and I'm not gonna go into spoilers because it's too fresh. Unless are we going?
We'll come back to spoilers probably in a future episode. But
okay.
For
Okay.
the general feel of it, it's very reflective, and I feel like it captures the tone of it's Basim's last chance to reclaim his identity before Loki takes it away from him. That's what I took away from it.
Mhm.
You know, he's
Eh,
trying to gain that relationship with his father and sort of learn a bit more about his origins before, as we know in Valhalla, he's just completely lost his own identity because Loki is like puppeteering and controlling him at that point.
Yeah.
So I think it's really nice, and it does open the door for more Basim content as well. I mean, obviously this was Saudi funded, and there was some
Mhm.
worries at first with the origins of this, but I thought the narrative on this was excellent compared to like Claws of Awaji. It was a really
Yeah.
strong DLC, and like you said, it's valuable. It adds to his character. I would say the writing in this is better than the main game of Mirage.
Yeah, I think it's very very good. The story, the writing, the voice acting was
Yeah,
exceptional. At first, when we were streaming the game and I saw the the cutscene where Basim meets Nimlot for the first time, it felt weird to me because it was so serious, and so like the voice tone was very low, and it felt like both of them were very dangerous. But
yeah,
with a background with like super sunlight and happiness, and it felt too much of a contrast. But going back to it, it felt so good. And the other cutscene
yeah.
between Basim and Nimlot is also so very good. And I think that the voice actor for Basim
Lee,
did,
Mirage,
yeah, Lee Majdoub made a phenomenal job, especially with this one, because you can feel that he throughout Mirage, the main game, you can feel the voice range from when he is a street thief up until where he ends the main game, and he has this deeper tone of voice because he is super mad, but he's also grown, and then now he has accepted Loki to be part of him, etc., etc., etc. And in the DLC, he is right before that, so he is not happy-go-lucky. He is still very serious right from the start, and he is like a moving threat, right? That he's recognized by people around him. That he is a moving threat, and it's so very good. And the writing is also very much on point. Very much on point. I do feel like it's a very nice DLC. Quite sad that the main story did not go throughout all the amazing locations of the DLC,
right.
because the main story almost doesn't touch the desert up until the very end, and it doesn't go to Hekra, it doesn't go to the Jabal Ikma, which were part of the presentation of the DLC. And I felt, oh, hello, Arshak. I feel like the DLC should have gone in there as well, even just to showcase those locations and what the devs did with that. Even to just go there and just move away. I also expected in one of the tombs to have like some Isu stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna talk about that now or later,
Yeah.
whatever.
We can absolutely talk about that.
Yeah,
And that's a very good point. They made a much bigger map than I expected, but then you
yeah,
barely touch the surface on it. Like you say, you literally in like a Lula itself, and then a little bit the outskirts and like the sand, but not so much like Hegra and like the northern regions.
yeah,
So I mean, when I look at it, I've only synchronized one sync point, and I've like traveled like where
yeah.
it's told me to. I've just done the narrative for now, but I mean, there's so much that I can really get into
Hmm.
in that, and I imagine some of the side activities are really worthwhile as well. I like what they've done with the music as well. It's something a bit
Yeah.
different.
I,
What do you
I've,
think?
I've I've tried some of those. Again, not all of them, but I did try the music. So chasing these the music notations, just like in Black Flag and AC3, which is nice because you are going through the parkour highways and through the parkour paths. and with the new parkour additions, it's like a different game, honestly.
It makes
Like,
a big difference.
yeah, like manual jump makes a whole completely like a huge difference, and I'm not able to articulate properly on parkour. That would be more like the field of Lee, okay, if it's still in
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it makes it so much smoother. It makes you feel more in control. You can make jumps at any time, which makes it faster. The side ejects and back ejects are so much better. Even if sometimes you jump to your death or whatever, but oftentimes the back eject and side ejects work like that, like immediately. It's so responsive. And I enjoyed it so much. And so moving through the old town of Alula, it was like so crazy, so nice. Side activities were nice as well. They added a little bit of color to the DLC in a way. The folk tales were okay. I didn't complete all of them. Some of them were just... The thing is, you just sit and listen to a character telling a story, which was okay. I think one of the folk tales indirectly references Basim, but I should go back to that because I felt some parallels to Basim's life and the assassins and the hidden ones. What else? I did the contracts. Some of the contracts were quite nice. Yeah, the side activities are okay in general. I would say there's enough content, especially considering this is priced at zero euros or dollars. So yeah.
Definitely. And I'm currently writing with my team like a joint review, and I love the positivity it's brought to everyone. I don't think I've heard really many negative points about it, to be fair, which is great. Everyone's like, it's like, we're back. Like even like all the YouTubers and everyone, they're all really happy with it. I think because a lot of people went in with like low expectations as well. They weren't sure what to expect. You know, it sort of came away like at the start as like, oh, this could be very similar to Claws of Awaji. You know, it was like a parent story, and we're going to a new location. Like, it's like, oh, we've just done this in Shadows, but it's executed much better in my opinion.
Much different.
It feels very reflective, and it explores Basim, and I love his personality in this. And I think you said it very well before, is that the assassins and the hidden ones, Basim, feel like a threat for the first time, and people around him recognize that. Nimlot is a very good example of that. Our conversation, we're having philosophical debates like in Assassin's Creed again, which we've not had for years. There's a back and forth. You know, there's discussion about why Basim does what he does, and like for those from the outside, he's very like blinded by the creed, is how they'll see it. And yeah, it's really cool to be having this like narrative of like a back and forth between like why the assassins do what they're doing and why. I don't want to get into spoilers on this, but I just found it really nice, and then the reflection with his father's journey as well. And the only issues I'd say with it is the build up to it was a little bit contrived in terms of like Basim didn't get permission from Roshan to leave. It's just like this isn't even spoilers because this is in like everything they've released in the marketing as well. It's like how you get to Alula is like, oh, I found this. Oh, it looks like what my pendant is, and it's like, should we go? Yeah. Rather than like he is like an assassin working his way up the Brotherhood through the ranks and everything. And yeah, I think it's really they had to find a way to get him there. And the other thing is, Darvis says to Basim, like, I will come with you. He doesn't thank him once. And this is a perilous journey across the desert. He doesn't say thank you once. And this is like minor nitpicks on my end because I love the DLC. And that's all I have written because points I thought I'd bring up that were like, they're not really like bad things, but are like funny, I guess, things I noticed, but like you said, the voice acting was so strong and it was just great, and I'm looking forward to getting out this joint review. Like my team have been contributing loads of stuff, but I need to like a puzzle, I guess, work through what we're going to keep, what we're not going to keep, what I'm going to add, and it's all in like sections. So could take a little bit of time, but yeah, looking forward to getting that one out. And then in future episodes, we can probably do like more spoilery discussions when more people have played it. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, because literally everyone on my team who's played it have enjoyed it as well. And yeah, it's been great fun.
Yeah. It was for me as like it was super super fun to play, and there are so many hidden details here and there. I guess you might have seen online. This is is it a spoiler? Like this is in the first few seconds of the DLC when Basim takes his camel or whatever it is to go from Baghdad to Al Ula, and next to a wall in there, there's Nihal.
That's cool.
That's a nice touch, but I also feel that was a reference to say, hey, Nihal is staying back, like she's staying in Baghdad, so she's not gonna appear. Even though I heard that she might appear somewhere else in the DLC. I'm not sure about that. I feel like a number of characters have been not involved in this to not make the work too tough on the devs, and also in order to not get voice actors for only a few lines. So I guess that's also potentially why they didn't show Roshan or Rayhan or Nihal or the Jinni. I was hoping to see the Jinni, especially in the prison when Basim falls asleep and like everything goes dark. I was going to say, okay, it's happening now, and then it wasn't. But other than that, so many other details. I think the Hidden One made a video about a number of details. I wanted to make one as well, but I didn't have time now. So maybe after the Shadows stuff from Tuesday is done and dusted, I really want to go back to the DLC, both to play it and to see if we can create some more content about it.
That's a good point, because Shadows has got an update coming out, which drops Tuesday, I think it is.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, November the 25th, and should be a pretty huge update. There's going to be the second collaboration that they haven't announced officially what it is, even though everybody knows what it is about because it was leaked. And then there's going to be a free quest that involves two poachers that appeared at the start in the flashbacks of Naue. And then there's going to be the Isudor with all the symbols.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So you guys have been busy with that. You've been already trying to crack the wording on the door.
Yes.
Wow.
So what we've done now is like identifying what those symbols are, and those are actually symbols from dating back up until Brotherhood.
Yeah, I saw your short the other day on.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, you were diving deep into the past Isu symbols. That was really cool.
Yes, those symbols have been used so many times. They've been used in Brotherhood, in AC3, which I didn't know. It was mentioned to me in our Discord server by a user called Nemo. And then they were mostly used in the Nostradamus Enigmas in Unity.
Cool. Wow, it's going to be right back.
Yeah, definitely back. And it's going to be a hunt, I guess. We're going to have to find all of those symbols somewhere. And we'll see. I have more stuff coming up tomorrow, probably-ish.
We'll keep an eye out for that, and that's great. Fantastic.
So yeah, it's been like a tough, busy week. Last week,
definitely.
The one before preparing for Value of Memory, and this one coming up for Shadows, and then we'll see. Because
you guys have been busy, and I guess the other big news in the last week or so has been the speculation that Ubisoft was going to be taken over. There's a lot of
Yes.
rumors and stuff going around about that, but it turns out it was a major investment from Tencent, putting 1.3 billion pounds into the new overarching structure of Vantage Studios. So it
Yes.
wasn't what everyone expected, but I would say it's actually a very positive thing, because this is big finance going into the games that have been selected to be under the umbrella of Vantage Studios, which includes
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. And hopefully this restructuring and this financial boost really gives Assassin's Creed some money to play with, opens some doors. And yeah, I see it as a big thing. Obviously, Tencent own like a 26% stake
Yeah.
in Ubisoft now. They've increased their stake. And yeah, £1.3 billion is a huge investment.
Mhm.
But it wasn't the news people expected when they delayed their financial report. People were expecting a full takeover, but it's not gone that way at all. It's just the partnership has now increased to some degree. So I wonder, what's your feeling about the whole relationship with Tencent and Vantage Studios, and the umbrella of Assassin's Creed now being controlled by like an in-house operation that's also a relationship with another company? It's a very strange situation.
I still have to properly make up my mind about this, because on this land I'm torn, like Connor said. On one side, Ubisoft has been doing poorly financially over the last few financial years, especially the last few years. Some of the games tanked, Star Wars, and that reflected badly, or reflected on the reorganization around Shadows, like all the delays and whatnot. So I feel like Ubisoft definitely needed some kind of support or injection from the outside, from Tencent. I'm not a huge fan of Tencent overall because of some of the practice that they have been doing over the last few years. I feel like in terms of developing, they seem to be going pretty well with Assassin's Creed Jade, before making the decision of, I don't know, putting it on a shelf to favor other games, which is what they actually directly and officially announced. What was it, like 2 years ago, a year ago or something?
Yeah, we've not really heard much about Jade in a long time.
Yeah,
It's no
definitely.
longer on the slate of releases that I know about.
Yeah. I mean, they had announced a second beta in 2023, which never happened, and then the project was iced somewhere. Like there were rumors about it releasing December 2023, then January 2024, and then we never heard about it again, which would be a shame, because like based on the beta, it was already not completed, but a lot of the game was already there. It was playable. It was super fun to play, and there were so many online features that the Assassin's Creed games do not have. That was so cool. Anyway, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Tencent, and seeing that they're now having 26%, I wonder if that could be worrisome for Ubisoft. At the same time, there is the discourse of the Gilmour family needing to go. A lot of people are suggesting and supporting that because of the many issues that have appeared over the years. And as usual, the issues come from the top, right? Because like the people that behave underneath, it's like if they are controlled, they're not going to do some behaviors. If otherwise, if the top allows for that, it's like it becomes a culture, and that's what happened, and that was unearthed in 2020 at the time with the various movements and issues, the sexual misconduct and the Me Too movement, etc. Yeah. So it does feel like Ubisoft needs a change, and like I said, I still have to make up my mind because I feel like Ubisoft needs to change. I feel like it's a good direction in that there is investment in the company, which means at least the three brands that are under Vantage Studios, they're going to hopefully prosper because of that investment. Where it's gonna go, I'm not sure. Surely Tencent now has 26% of decision-making power, not just controlling the company, but also in every major decision they will have 26% of votes, which means also the direction will potentially change, which is good and bad, depending on the point of view. What else? In terms of the specific as to why the earnings call was postponed, I think Yves Guillemot mentioned something about an accounting issue about a partnership from last year. But now it was reverted or something. So a lot of people thought, okay, the company is going to be bought and whatnot, and they are they're waiting for the proper time to announce it. And actually, they announced some very strong results for both, especially on the Assassin's Creed brand, but also overall. And it was very good on Mirage's side. It got to 10 million players. It was so strange and weird how they phrased it on Shadows, because on Shadows they said Shadows had overperformed because it had 211 million play sessions.
Right.
They did not mention any sales number.
And they've done this before by saying, like, it's the fourth best-selling Assassin's Creed game, but then they don't give the numbers on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like this they've done in the past.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
you don't get into the nitty-gritty sales details of the things with Shadows, and I don't know why that is. I don't know.
It's probably because it's not a number to be super proud of. I don't know. I would expect that. There were, I wouldn't even call them rumors, but there were market analysts a few weeks ago projecting a number of sales for overall for Shadows of 4.3 million, which, if true, would be super low. Definitely super low. I feel strange because Shadows was still like huge and hugely marketed, but of course it also had all the issues throughout the campaign, all the grifters and all the issues. So but would that amount for so many million sales lost? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And that's why Ubisoft probably doesn't really want to talk about that.
And they're sort of skirting around it. And I've got a quote here from Yves Guillemot in reference to the merger and the recent injection of cash. And he says that it's a pivotal milestone in Ubisoft's transformation, signifying strengthening our financial position by bringing 1.16 billion of cash and enabling the group to deleverage as planned. So basically, like, empower Vantage Studios to accelerate the free flagship. And obviously, Assassin's Creed is Ubisoft's like baby. It's the big focus. So hopefully, a good chunk of this financial injections go into AC, and that's across the whole board. All the studios working on it, and all I hope. I agree with the hesitations you have as well with Tencent. Obviously, there's been some malpractice in China. They're very like loot box heavy, pop-ups in their ads, and like adverts in general in their games, and very like financial, like I guess like they're the kings of monetization and microtransactions, and we don't really want that in Assassin's Creed more than it already is. So
exactly.
Comes with that hesitation. And I guess for me, something that people don't really talk about now is that Ashraf Ismail works for Tencent. So it's like, are we giving him the keys back to Assassin's Creed after obviously there was the scandal a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's all these issues that come with it. But I guess from a Tencent point of view, they're just looking to make some money from Assassin's Creed and hopefully get a return. But yeah, it's interesting that that's the way it played out, and it wasn't like a full takeover of Ubisoft. And it's interesting to hear your perspective on it, because it's very similar to mine. I'm very hesitant, but I'm open to Ubisoft rebranding because of the issues they've had. There's obviously talk about the Guillemot family, if they're the correct ones to lead it. And I think most recently with Vantage Studios placing his son in charge.
Yeah.
Which has obviously been called out for nepotism.
Definitely. Like immediately. Like, of course it was like that.
Yeah.
What else could you expect, right? Like,
So I think people are right to question this, and that's obviously been the big news in terms of like injection of cash. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And obviously, if Assassin's Creed Jade ever does come to fruition, I mean, we both played the beta, and hopefully it can come out one day. And there's some very interesting concepts. So some characters we've met before in Assassin's Creed, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ever comes out. I think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, guys, I'm still ill, but powering through. And, the other interesting news this week, Marco, was Nolan North's interview. He was doing like a series, Do You Remember Your Lines? And they do it a lot with like movie actors and things now, looking back on the past and if you can remember the lines you did. And he did one recently, and he was discussing his role as Desmond. It was only like a 2-minute section on Assassin's Creed, but he sort of referenced in it that he didn't know Desmond had died when he was recording the lines.
I read only the article titles. I never went into the details of the news on Nolan North. I was shocked when I read that, but at the same time, I can't imagine how that might have come to be. Like, imagine when you are a voice actor, you are being told by your director, like director of voice acting, these are your lines, right? Your director tells you how to voice them. You might ask questions about the reasons why you're saying what you're saying, or the reason why you're saying that because of the tone that you want to put in your inflection. But I would imagine you are not supposed to know what is happening to your character. And if you think about it, the ending of Assassin's Creed 3, Desmond almost does not speak, right? Like after he decides, he says, it's the only choice I can make, or whatever he says, before he touches the pedestal with the big fishing boat. Before he does that, he talks, but after he touches that, he doesn't say anything. Then he gets fried, so he dies.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna die." He doesn't scream. Like, you don't hear him screaming, even though you can see him that he's holding his hand. He is, he's being electrocuted, and if I recall correctly, like his mouth is open, like he's screaming, but you don't hear it. So, from a voice actor perspective, I can imagine that the devs or whoever was working with him might have not told him, "Hey, your character is dying." Because sometimes voice actors tend to spoil or leak the games.
Very true. Yeah. We've seen that.
Oftentimes unintentionally, because they are professionals. But it has happened. Think of Matt Ryan recently. So,
yeah.
So
okay.
I feel that is plausible. Like, why would Nolan North lie about that? Quite strange for sure. I guess that he also abandoned the idea of Desmond being one of his main characters if he only found out recently that he died, because that happened 13 years ago. So, but I'm not sure. Like, did he did he get to know that recently, or was he told in the past?
He just said that he found out on Twitter after the game release. So,
Okay.
and then he sort of follows up by saying the good people at Ubisoft have assured me that Desmond is alive in a way.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Okay, but in that case, I saw some people on our Discord saying, "Well, duh," but like if you are a hardcore fan, or if you have played Assassin's Creed Valhalla at its ending, in one of its ending, you do know why Desmond is alive in a way, in a manner of speaking, like Basim says. But yeah, like so technically he's alive. It's right. Like what Ubisoft told Nolan North is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a shame that obviously he's given like many years of his life towards this project. I mean, obviously he voiced Desmond in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3. And then again, he's come back for the audio files in Black Flag. So
exactly,
he's done so much to then, like, thank you for your time working on this project. We had a great time. And then off he goes into the world to work on his next project, and he finds out on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
No, not ideal. Definitely not ideal. I would imagine that he found out between AC3 and AC4.
Yeah.
Because after that he would do the audio files, so definitely new. Yeah, weird that Ubisoft did not tell him, for sure. Like I said, I can't imagine how that came to be. Still not fantastic on Ubisoft side. But
whilst we're talking about voice actors, that moves us on nicely to the other bit of the voice actor news for this week. Is that Roger Craig Smith came back to do 16 years of Assassin's Creed 2, I think it was.
Yes.
It was a nice video for Ubisoft, and he came back and expressed his love for Ezio, and it sort of got me thinking very much about anniversaries and made me quite reflective about the franchise. But the key moment in the Ezio video with Roger is that he said someone asked him, are there more Ezio stories to tell? And he's like, yes, make it happen. But that's not for me to say. That's for the good writers at Ubisoft. I think there's more room for Ezio stories. And yeah, I guess, would you be interested in seeing Ezio again?
Yes, in general, overall, always. But I would love to see some more Ezio canon and story. I feel it's tougher and tougher because over the years they have done so many stories about different times in Ezio's life that it becomes tougher and tougher to have meaningful stories in Ezio's time. Because like if you want to have like a happy-go-lucky story that has no impact on anything, you can definitely conjure one up easily. At any time in his life. But if you wanted to have some kind of impact on the overall narrative, then you will have to think of all the various variables that happened in Ezio's life to be able to contextualize it properly without breaking the canon, which definitely not easy. So I would love to see and to hear Ezio's voice. Like when I played Assassin's Creed Nexus, the VR game, it was so cool to hear Roger's voice in the Ezio shape after so much time. It was so cool. So yeah, I would love to even not necessarily a game. Like it could be, imagine like an audio drama like the Subject Zero one in AC4, but about Ezio. It would be nice. Or I don't know. There have been comics about Ezio. There have been so many stories about him. So it's quite tough to make a new story about him that has an impact.
I think if they were going to do it, the movie would have been a good opportunity to do that with Aguilar, because Ezio was in Spain in the canon. They could have really worked that in, but they decided not to in the end, despite the rumors.
Yeah, that hit me at the time because I either I don't recall if there was actually a draft of the script that mentioned Ezio or the Hooded Men or something like that. I think there were rumors, but they were sort of like certified by something that I definitely can't remember at the moment. But yeah, like Ezio would have been proper in that movie, even just to appear, justify or legitimize Aguilar in a way, and then like a cameo, and then drop off. Like that would have been perfect. To make a very recognizable character in a movie that really needed to like some anchor to the overall franchise, because it was a story of its own that was trying desperately to introduce everything of the franchise in just 2 hours.
Yes.
And to me, it didn't make it properly. So I guess we'll see with the live TV show whenever that happens, if it still happens. When you have hours of screen time, it's probably much easier to flesh out all the main elements of the franchise, especially everything that has accumulated over the years. Because we've been following the franchise for so much time, and we have seen that every new opus for the franchise, every new release, because it will always draw new fans, it always has to reintroduce all the main elements. So who are the assassins? Why is there the hood? What is the hidden blade? Who are the Templars? Who are the Isu? What is modern day, etc., etc., etc. So I would imagine it would be the same for the TV show when it happens. Because you are addressing a new audience that might not know what Assassin's Creed is, and what it is about. And it really, like, introducing everything needs time, like needs screen time. So definitely tough for a movie.
And hopefully the TV show takes the time to explore these concepts. And I always think Assassin's Creed needs like a lore master. Like I was recently on the Podyssey podcast, and I nominated you as the Assassin's Creed lore master.
You did? Oh my god, I didn't watch that.
Yeah. So you were my nomination for
Thank
lore
you.
master. And I do feel like someone is needed to sort of say this is canon, this isn't, this would work, this would break canon. I feel like you would be someone great who could do that. And whilst we're on the topic of Ezio, and I guess the Assassin's Creed 2 anniversary had me thinking, and it's a little bit reflective, a little bit morbid in a way, but I was sort of reflecting on Ezio's death monologue from Embers recently.
Okay.
And I'll read it out. I do know it, but I don't want to butcher it on the podcast. So I'll read it. And it's sort of like when I was reading it, it sort of hit me like my journey as well as like a content creator, and how like even though it's not ending in March, I'm going to be on hiatus for 6 months while I focus on childcare and being more present in the moment. In a way, that's like the end of like a lifetime of work where I can finally just like have good in a way, if that makes sense, and just like because I've never really had like time off, if that makes sense. Like I've always continuously. In some variation, like ran the ones that came before or created content. So the quote, of course, as we all know, when I was a young man, I had liberty, but I did not see it. I had time, but I did not know it. And I had love, but I did not feel it. These are sort of the words I was reflecting on recently, because when I was thinking about it, it was like when I was a young man, I had liberty. And for me, that's like when I was younger and I started my Assassin's Creed journey, I had all this free time. I was a student. So other than lectures and partying, I could just make Assassin's Creed content. I had all this time, and I had all this free time. I could do whatever I wanted. So yeah, I can sort of see like every single line. Like, there's 3 different things I can sort of reflect and sort of see my own journey in it. And of course, I had time, but I did not know it. You never know how much time you have until you don't anymore. And again, like I say, with me. Losing Assassin's Creed content creation time coming up. I'm trying to get as much done as possible. I'm trying to get as many episodes of this podcast released, trying to get as many articles out, because there's going to be a long period of time where the ones that came before has to operate without me there. And I guess the last bit is, and this is going a bit deep, and it's I had love, but I did not feel it. And that's just me sort of reflecting on the people I've lost along the way, and with Assassin's Creed as well, it's really helped me with grief and the grieving process. And I know, for example, when I lost my granddad back in 2017, I very much threw myself into content creation. I was writing articles and things, and it was like a form of escape and helped me in terms of like giving me a focus, and in terms of like mental health challenges. If I was ever having a down day, I could always like break down an article I was working on, a YouTube video, and I'd find like a bit of purpose in that. And we spoke before about burnout. I've never really been one to suffer with burnout myself, but I know a lot of content creators have, including yourself, like you mentioned before. And I think Assassin's Creed has always, I always had the ability to like break down a project into like separate chunks, and it's given me something to like work towards and goals, and obviously building a network and a team and everything. And I've always found like Assassin's Creed to be like structurally very like useful for me in terms of like management. You mentioned before, Sari is self-taught on web development. I'm the same on like web side of things. YouTube creation, I learned how to do that through Assassin's Creed. Team leadership role, like if you look at my CV, it's really like from Assassin's Creed, I've learned so much in terms of like a management role. But yeah, I wanted to sort of dive into that. If you've ever found Assassin's Creed has been a way to escape grief, if you've ever lost anyone close to you.
First of all, I wanted to say like your this personal reflection on like based on Embers. It's really, really nice, very heartfelt. It made me think, because like it does apply to me as well in a way. The before times and then how things have changed. In terms of if Assassin's Creed has helped me overcoming grief, I would say it did not. I mean, I did not look for help, or I did not throw myself into Assassin's Creed or content creation to process grief, but it impacted me in another way in terms of grief. My mother passed last year in February, and she had gone through senile dementia and then Alzheimer. And you, without going into spoilers, but you might imagine the ending of the Valley of Memory DLC, how it hit me right here. So because I did go through all of that, through all of what Basim went through at the end of that DLC, I actually felt that and saw that and experienced that. And something similar happened with Valhalla, in that there is a quest in Norway at the start of the game. It's something that I always wanted to tell Darby, but I always forgot to tell him. There is a quest in Norway where you find a I don't remember. Like it's a quest giver. I think it's an old man, and he tells you, "Hey, I'm gonna young woman or young man. I'm gonna take you through the various regions of England, because we're now in England." He believes to be in England, and then Eivor follows him, and he takes her through various areas in there in Norway, and say, "This is Northumbria, this is Mercia, this is these are the various regions." And then she supports this old man who would like to be in England, but he can't. Very much like at the end of the Valley of Memory DLC, and he believes to be somewhere where he isn't, and that also hit me at the very same way. So I'm gonna say that it's not like I threw myself in Assassin's Creed to process grief. I know that other members of the community have, and I'm happy that it was able to help them, but I would say it still impacted me in that it told stories that are very deeply close to my heart, definitely. And it's telling, sometimes it doesn't shy away from telling some very tough stories and some very human ones as well, like some very human experiences that sometimes in real life, sometimes you just see from the outside. I'm thinking again at the ending of the Value of Memory DLC. But when you experience them from the inside, they can be very tough on you and your family as well. And seeing that Ubisoft does not shy away from telling some of these stories, that really means a lot, honestly. So that is how it impacted me in terms of managing grief.
First of all, terribly sorry for your loss. That is such an awful thing to happen. And of course, Ubisoft with the powerful stories, I imagine that does like hit hard. And yeah, great examples you gave there with Valiant Memory. And I wasn't familiar with the Valhalla one, but it does show that they are telling like real stories that are like emotionally weighted. And yeah, it just, everyone deals with grief differently. And for me, it was a comfort, and for others, it could be a bit of a distraction. I know some people have felt very guilty focusing on something when they're in so much pain. And yeah, for sure. I mean, it's totally up to the individual, and how you deal with it is a very personal thing. But yeah, big respect for talking about that on the podcast, Marco. And yeah, it's just a very sad thing to discuss, but I think it's important that we do talk about mental health challenges, burnout, grief, all these things, especially as men, who quite often men are less likely to discuss these issues, and we think it's very important here to get into the real life situations. And yeah, big respect, and once again, sorry for your loss on your mother.
And sorry for the loss of your grandpa that you mentioned.
Thank you very much. But yeah, I've always been really lucky in the terms of like Assassin's Creed has always like provided something for me. I know I've read like I probably can't say the word on the podcast, but I think you can say like game ending stories where people are like in a very difficult position with mental health. And I know Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a good example where I read on Reddit someone was playing it and it brought them back from that dark space. So it does show the impact that these games do have, and the stories that do resemble real life. And yeah, I think you've given some really great examples there. And to move on to happier topics, we have had some write-ins for you, Marco, from a team member of mine, Zephyrus. And he's very excited for you to join on the podcast. He's our social media manager. And he starts off with the write-in. He goes, "Hello, Marco. Zephyrus here. Hope you're doing well. I have been a big fan of your work at Access the Animus for a long time. Your breakdown videos and analysis on different Assassin's Creed topics are amazing and so easy to understand. I really love them. My question's for you. How did you start this, and what was the inspiration behind it?" Though we've covered this a little bit, but what was, I think we mentioned as well the inspiration behind the name and where that came from. But what would you say like inspired you to create Access the Animus rather than just join up with the Italian communities that were already there?
Well, first of all, thank you, Zephyrus, for the kind message. I also recognize his work, like he's crazy in reporting everything, so like lightning fast. It's so good. In terms of inspiration, that's tough.
I guess another way of looking at it, Marco, is were there any like other things you were sort of interested in and like inspired you to do the same for Assassin's Creed? Like, were you a member of any other communities? Like I mentioned before, I was on the Watch Dogs community, and they had like their own fan communities. And like I look at Game of Thrones and stuff like that a lot. They've got a lot of like fan communities that I guess you can sort of take elements of that and make it your own in Assassin's Creed. I wonder if there was any sort of inspiration you could draw on from outside Assassin's Creed in the early days.
I don't, not in the creation of ATA. Like in the creation of ATA, I drew from my experience from the previous Italian communities. And then I said, okay, like this is the baseline. This is very good. I want to build upon this with something of my own, and not just of my own, but of all the other members that were in ATA at the time. So we're gonna do this and then some more, and so we brainstormed for many months before actually launching, and that's. So the inspiration was like, this is the actual what it is in Italy as at the time, and then we said, hey, we're gonna bring something new. In terms of inspiration from communities outside of Assassin's Creed, I remember there was at the time, it might be 2017 or 18. I was chatting with Dom, the community manager. And he mentioned like he's a huge Halo fan, and I remember him sending me a link to a channel that made on like mostly videos about the lore and story of Halo throughout the franchise. And it was super huge because also like Halo is also like a huge brand. And he said like, you could do something like that. Like, why don't you take some inspiration from that? And I did see that there were actually some channels that did really good, even just by dealing with like story aspects and not just, news and information and what is currently the hot topic in terms of news and gameplay. And so that was sort of an inspiration, though not at the creation of the project, but that inspired me to make a push for that a few years later in 2020 when we restarted and rehashed the YouTube channel.
That's a really great answer, and it's cool to hear that Dom was the one who introduced you to that and said you can take these elements.
Yeah,
just shows he was always encouraging community.
Yeah. Like Dom has been. I definitely have to say this. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, like he's another piece of my heart in terms of experiences throughout these years in the Assassin's Creed community. I remember like chatting with him oftentimes daily about a lot of stuff, not just Assassin's Creed, but experiences in life in general, gaming a lot. Oftentimes, like not so often, but every now and then we get to chat still. He moved back to Germany to another gaming studio, and he's still kicking ass everywhere he goes. And yeah, at the time he really because he, as a community manager, you need to have a grasp on everything that is happening on the community. So it's part of your job to also know who the community members are, what they do, what their focus is, and how you can accommodate them. And so he definitely knew what we did, especially because he also was a community manager for a long time. So he knew the right advice to provide when the time was needed. Yeah.
Fantastic. So question number 2 from Zephyrus. Which Assassin's Creed game has implemented the Isu lore and overall Assassin's Creed lore the best, according to you?
That's a tough question. That's a cool question. The Isu lore, how it was implemented best. I'm gonna go, maybe I'm gonna make some people angry, but I might go with Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay.
And Brotherhood. But if I had to choose one, I would go with Assassin's Creed 3 in terms of the Isu lore, because there are other aspects that were not handled properly at all, like Daniel Cross is an example. Yes. But and there are some issues with the Isu lore as well, because a number of explanations about the Isu lore in AC3 are in the actual guide of the game and not in the game itself. So that's an issue in itself.
Yeah.
But if you think about the actual Isu lore, even if it's quite, hermetic, quite obscure at times, that was the culmination of 5 games where the Isu lore culminated in Juno's 1,000 years plan. I definitely believe this was not the plan for the Isu story with AC2, because the ending of AC2 mentioned find those who stayed away from war and whatnot. So it felt like you had to find a number of temples and a number of Isu and whatnot, and that really did not happen, and that pivoted towards Juno from Brotherhood on. But once they went on the story of Juno, AC3 was a proper culmination. It introduced the 6 methods of salvation, which were super amazing. And they were rooted and in the lead up to the catastrophe. We had seen how the catastrophe had played out, and it made the Isu also a little human in a way, because Juno was very vindictive in her plans, but at the same time ethereal still, because it's like because the assassins and Desmond always try and be cautious because they don't know what Juno is going to try and do with them, and also the ending, which a lot of people expected you could choose the ending, because it very, very much provides you the 2 options and then the story chooses for you. But at the same time, it was an ending that opened the story for Juno, and after that it was handled poorly, honestly, because they never got to a proper ending for Juno, which then happened in the comics, and let's not open the can of worms, but yeah, it felt like after AC3 the devs never knew how to handle a closure for Juno, up until they decided, okay, let's discard her and let's go. But up until AC3, and in AC3, that was the culmination. That was where there were so many cool aspects about what Juno had planned that were seeded from Brotherhood, and the Lost Archive DLC for Revelations, and an AC3 throughout. And Juno interacting with Connor and Desmond and Ezio, so that was quite amazing in my opinion. So sorry, I spoke.
No, that's a great answer, and you've brought back a lot of memories for that. And even like the way Revelations was hinting at a grand temple, and then it proceeds obviously in AC3, and even like the introduction of the sage. I know it's not named as the sage, but you do see Juno's husband going through all the experiments and everything. And this is the creation of the sage and how he would come back time and time again. So all these ideas were planted in AC3, showing that Aita just kept going with the experiments time and time again. And obviously in Black Flag, it's more developed. And obviously he comes back time and time again throughout history. Obviously with Bartholomew Roberts. And then you have it in the modern day as well with John, I think he's called.
John from IT.
John from IT. But yeah, no, you've made some really good points there, and the salvation points as well. Sending the apple into space, like you see all these concepts as well. It's really interesting,
and it's nice because those methods of salvations were then reused throughout time in subsequent releases. Like the Tombs of the Fallen activity in Valhalla made use of method number 2, if I recall correctly. And then Dawn of Ragnarok, for how bad it was, like it referenced the towers, which were the method number 1, and then the sages were built up on method number 5, and then the Aesir Sages from Valhalla, they were method number 7, but it was built on the other, like AC3 laid the ground for a lot of Isu stuff that came afterwards.
And we're huge fans of the Isu, the ones that came before, of course, so can't wait for the quest line coming out very soon. And final question here from Zephyrus, and just to wrap up this section, he asks, who is your favourite Assassin's Creed protagonist?
Oh, I'm gonna find a how do you say it? Because he didn't say in the games,
right?
I'm gonna throw a curveball there, and I'm gonna say my favorite assassin is called Perotto Calderon.
Great answer.
And he is a character from Project Legacy.
On Facebook.
The Facebook game that was released in 2010 and 11, and then it died. And the reason for that is that he is an assassin, but he is ditching, he's going against the Templars and also against the assassins in order to save his son. So it's a very human story about an assassin that before his son dies and has to save him with a shroud of Eden, he has to go against the Templars that are trying to get the shroud, and then the assassins that are protecting the shroud. And so he goes through all of them and kills all of them in order to save his son. And then he undergoes trial by the assassin, and then he is killed. But this drive by a father to save his son, whatever the affiliation, I don't care about the affiliations. I just have to save my son. That was so cool already 15 years ago when I read that story.
That's really cool. And that's it's sort of hand in hand with a lot of people who would say Giovanni Borgia.
Yeah.
Who's another interesting answer from Project Legacy and Initiates and the lore surrounding his character as well. A very similar sort of timeline as well. We're talking like Rome with Lucrezia and everyone, like all these characters. And he's another really interesting one that I imagine you'd know a lot more about.
Oh, yeah. Giovanni Borgia is another huge character from Project Legacy. He also appeared, I think, in a comics as well, Initiates probably. Giovanni Borgia, I think before Eivor, was one of the main character, not main character, one of the Assassin's Creed characters that had gotten in contact with the highest number of pieces of Eden.
Right.
Before Eivor.
He used to play with a piece of Eden as a child, if I remember right.
Yeah,
he used the apple as a child. His dad's Rodrigo Borgia.
No, his dad is Perotto Calderon. So he is the son that is saved with the Giovanni is saved with the shroud. So right when he's born, he already comes in contact with the shroud. Then he gets in when he Rodrigo Borgia is his grandfather because Perotto has a relationship with Lucrezia. So Giovanni Borgia is the son of Perotto and Lucrezia. And so he is the grandson of Rodrigo Borgia. So he gets to play with the Apple of Eden when he's a kid. And he is able to create matter out of the apple, if I recall correctly. It's been a long time. And then he embarks on one of the Spanish expeditions, and he gets to South America. He gets to the Aztec civilization. And in there, he finds a skull, a crystal skull, and interacts with that as well. So up until 2010, 2011, whatnot, he was one of the people that had come into contact with the most pieces of Eden, and then Cassandra and Eivor came, and because of the nature of those games, so many pieces of Eden, they were very overused.
I think what's interesting about Giovanni Borgia, if I remember right, it's going back years, he was almost like sensitive to the pieces of Eden and could feel their presence. So he was like in tune with them. Because I made YouTube videos on this when I started, going back years and years. But I remember he had almost like the ability to know where a piece of Eden was. And he had like a working relationship with the Isu deity Consus.
Yeah, sort of like... Cool. I'm trying to remember everything. So basically, I'm not sure if he was able to feel to know where the pieces of Eden were, but he was attuned to the pieces of Eden, I think, because he was wrapped in the shroud when he was a baby. And so he had this sort of like molecular reaction and relationship with the pieces of Eden. There was also another story in Project Legacy where he came in contact. I don't remember. Was he? Yeah, he was. Was he in contact with Bombastus, the guy that burned the books? Did he? I think he got in contact with the book as well. There was like the I'm not sure if you remember, there were like 2 Isu books in Project Legacy.
No, I know what you mean. Like I think Shay has one of them at one point. Is this
maybe probably?
Like
I remember that one of those books I did mention in my first video for Hexe.
That's cool.
A few years ago, because this Bombastus is this writer and alchemist from the 15 and 1600s that appeared in Project Legacy, but he was also involved with politics and science at the time. And I think, I'm pretty sure that Giovanni Borgia interacted with him as well, and with the book, so he interacted with that as well. So yeah, Giovanni Borges is a very nice story, though it was never told through the game, so not a lot of people know about him.
Yeah, very, very good answer with Colosso Calderon. I'm sure Zephyrus will enjoy this very deep cut down the rabbit hole answer we've given. But there's some more from way like in the past. The Project Legacy can't even access anymore. But get to the wiki, and I think you guys restored quite a lot of the information on Access the Animus' website. I know you did it with Initiates when it went down.
Yes. So what we did at the time, when we had more time in our hands, was to restore databases that Ubisoft had made available and then took away. I'm thinking of Project Legacy because, if I'm not mistaken, it was Project Legacy. No, it was Initiates. I remember, for what concerns Initiates, that somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody, the day before they cut off the database and the site was over, somebody told me, hey, tomorrow this is going to happen. I can't remember who it was. And I remember spending the whole night copying all the text and everything in order to keep it. And at the time, I had done the same for Project Legacy on my own, because I wanted to keep all the text in one place. And then, because of the policy on Facebook that if a game is not updated for a long period of time, they're gonna kill it. And it happened with other Assassin's Creed apps on Facebook, like the Discover Your Legacy for Revelations and other obscure apps that not a lot of people will remember. But yes, so the text that I, for whatever reason, saved on any document file, we put on. And then it was 2014 we put there the war letters from Rogue. And
Nice.
the idea was to have a database for all the documents in Assassin's Creed. It never came to be. And by the way, there's the
project.
Yeah. And I mean, the Assassin's Creed Wiki is doing this much better than we do. So we decided to focus on what we do best and let them do what they do best, which is archiving everything about Assassin's Creed. And they are so good about that.
They're very good at it, and they've got a huge team as well. But they are really great, and they've been doing it a long time as well. And just to end that from Zephyrus, he says, "Thank you so much for coming on our Rally the Creed podcast. Keep up the great work and all the best." And
thank you so much.
To the final section, we always end with a pitching an Assassin's Creed game section. And what would be your dream location, Marco?
Oh my god. I knew you guys do this, and I still haven't been able to think of a specific setting.
We've gone through so many that, I mean, we're on episode 19 now. We've had some great ideas, and obviously mine was Australia. James always said Scotland. We've had some really great ones. Most recently on the Halloween episode, we were talking about the Black Death, the plague, and we sort of been pitching, it's actually in an article now James released the other day. I guess most recent pitching idea for us was like a dark trilogy of Assassin's Creed. So Hexe, the Gunpowder Plot with Guy Fawkes.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It would be good. We did that one recently. And then Black Eden, which was the one James wrote this article on, which is about a corrupted apple of Eden, like a black apple of Eden that corrupts its like rot, and it's like a dark version of it, and the rot is used by the Templars to create the plague, and they widespread across Europe the first plague in the 1300s, and then take control of the areas. And it's so well written, and James has done such a great job, because we just bounce ideas off each other on these podcasts, and then he goes and writes a full article with brand new characters, and fully recommend checking that one out.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
On the Halloween episode 15 that we did. That what would be your dream location?
Let me think, because like Ubisoft has done Japan now, so that was my what I wanted to see in Assassin's Creed for sure. If I had to go more in depth without going into the major settings that Ubisoft has mostly covered at this point, I would like to see. Have you read the Magus conspiracy books?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Okay, so basically, these were it was meant to be a trilogy on Assassin's Creed, but set in the 1800s. And the 2 books out of 3 were released, and the third was never released. And I'm so sad to hear that, to know about that. And I would like to see Assassin's Creed in the 1800s across Europe. So maybe not necessarily one setting, but because the 1800s and early 1900s, they were all about nations that were forming, but also nationalism. It's a period that it does have documents, but not everything is documented still, and you can have pockets of areas and secrets that have been kept by the kings of that time, or anything like that. And it's a period where industry is developing, so there's more technology that you can grow, but it's also a period of revolutions. It's also a period of rebellion and rebellious acts. So I know it's very vague to say the 1800s, but I'm thinking of for example, the unification in Italy, because I know a little bit of being in Italy, being in your country, you know a little bit more of the history of your country, obviously, but seeing the unification of the various countries and what they were based off, the positive and the negatives that were not really shown, but they were underlying. The creation of the various countries, it would be in Europe. It would be, I think, a very nice. How can I say, field to put some I don't know. You can have the Templars within all these creations of governments and countries, where the Templars are infiltrated in order to create the new world order that they were thinking of creating, and the assassins behind the rebellions that were so famous at the time. I would like to see more modern assassins, modern in terms of more recent and more closer to us. I would love to see, like a lot of people, an Assassin's Creed in World War II. This is something that I was expected to see since I played AC2. I would have loved to see the game that was cancelled that they mentioned recently.
Yeah, we've been discussing that a lot recently. I mean, that's such a cool concept.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's been shut down internally. And to give you guys at home a bit of an idea, this is the cancelled KKK assassin game where, when was it? We discussed it in the episode with Willis Makes Movies, and it's sort of gone from there. It would have been such a cool concept, and apparently it's been shut down internally. But it would have made so much sense, you know, sort of the KKK manipulating events, and could have been like a new faction of the Templars or the Order of Ancients, that they're already masked, and one by one you take them down. I think it would have been great. Some of the concept art by fans has been great. I know AI, not a big fan of AI, but it gives you an idea of what it could have been. But yeah, sad that one's been shut down. And I think that would have been a great game. And hopefully, to see that. The new Vantage Studio umbrella, they can look at these more risky projects, I guess you could call it. But yeah, that would have been a great one. Great answer, by the way, Marco. Especially with like the 1800s, you could incorporate like the Fry twins, or even like going back before that, like their father, Ethan Fry. We know nothing about him. He's dead by the time you start Syndicate. It would be cool to see sort of his influence across Europe, and maybe they're setting up assassin cells across the countries, and the Templars are already winning across that. I mean, they've already got London by the time you get to Syndicate, so why not have their influence across Europe? So I think it'd be really interesting, like you say, with the developing, obviously, like the Industrial Revolution in London, see the influence on that across the world. That was 1868 we start Syndicate, and I guess like the increased mobility with like ships and steel yards and stuff, it would be really cool to see. And even like to push further, like you mentioned before, the war in like 1900s, it'd be interesting to see their take on that. I know that was the answer Andy Reloads gave as well, talking about weaponry and stuff. But yeah, lots of stuff they can still do in Assassin's Creed, and it's cool that we can still pitch timelines they've not done, they've not run out yet, and we can still think of cool concepts.
And also I feel that now that we have gotten to explore most of the classic time periods, the most requested ones, now Ubisoft, especially with the new structure, not only internally but also the structure of the Animus hub, can allow for smaller projects. It doesn't have to be like always huge projects. This allows Ubisoft, now that they have already covered all the main time frames. You know, they have been ancient Greece. They have gone a little bit through ancient Rome. They did Egypt. They did the French Revolution, the British Revolution. They did medieval Japan. So now they can focus a little bit more on smaller pockets of history that are not as known and as requested. And
That's
an
why I like
example for that.
Mirage.
Sorry?
Like
Like
Mirage, for
Mirage,
example. I really
exactly.
loved about that time period. It's really great.
And another example will probably be Hexe,
Yeah.
because wherever, I mean, rumors are mentioning, and we did mention in our videos as well, it's going to be supposedly Germany or around Germany or Europe, in the 15 or 1600s, wherever it's going to be. It's definitely, it was still like a period that impacted, it was super impactful for a number of emperors that ruled Europe, etc. But still, it's not one of the time periods that the masses deal with ever so frequently. You don't get to talk about the Holy Roman Empire so frequently in life. So I feel that now Ubisoft can go into lesser known time frames and historical settings, and it's gonna be much better. I didn't even know about Al Ula. Like, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that there was a valley with historical monuments that date back to 1000 years BCE. That is crazy. I didn't even know that. I felt so ignorant when I saw the presentation of the DLC.
That's cool. What a great answer. And wow, this has been a super long episode, and I didn't think I had
Sorry,
it in.
I'm
No,
so talkative.
it's been great to chat with you, Mark. I'm amazed I've managed with my cold and my throat, but I've powered through. We've had a great chat.
You were super strong.
It's been good. And guys, to give you an idea of where we're at, we're now ranked on Google Rally the Creed. You can find all our episodes on YouTube, clips on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. We're always promoting it, trying to get bigger and better. You can help us out by rating the show on Spotify, 5 or 4 stars, however generous you're feeling. It's completely up to you. You can write into the show, send us a message on any of our social media platforms or the contact page in the top right-hand corner on the Once Again Before website. Whatever your opinion is, we'll cover your take on the show. So get your answers in. Any questions running? Next week, episode 20, we're joined by our editor, Charlie. You guys have heard me talk about him a lot on the show, but we're going to have Charlie with us. And I'm also going to be joined by my co-host, James. So the two of us and Charlie, it's going to be a ton of fun as we get into the 2021, 22, pushing on to big episode numbers. And a massive thank you to everyone who's donated gifts in the chat tonight and TikTok, and it helps us host the Ones Came Before website. Your donations are really valuable to us and we really appreciate it. And a massive thank you, Marco, for joining me tonight. And where can people find you?
Well, you can find Access the Animus wherever, like on all social media. It's Access the Animus or Access Animus, depending on the platform. You can look for Access the Animus. There's not so much else that you can find. And Colin, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure, and it's been a long time since we had a chat, and this was the perfect occasion. So thank you so much. I didn't get the chance to congratulate you on your second kid. I'm so happy for you. And again, congrats on the 20th episode next time. I'm so happy that there are still podcasts running for Assassin's Creed. There had been a period where podcasts were all the rage, then it stopped completely, and now I'm really so happy to see that you guys are continuing with this. It's so amazing.
Thank you so much for your support, Marco. And you've been such a great guest as well. You're so insightful from the beginning of the franchise. Like, I don't know many people who've been here since day one, but you are an OG, a great content creator. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all your content, especially when it comes to the Shadows update, your take on Valley of Memories, and there's a lot more coming out as well. And
definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And really appreciate everyone for listening. And we will see you soon, Assassins.